Good evening and welcome to another Mothman Podcast. Tonight we're talking with the Donna Wagner from Greensboro, North Carolina. And Donna's had this entity show up at her house, and we're going to be talking to her about this, and then we're going to be going out and investigating her house the Saturday of the 21st, I think we are. And right here with me I have Amanda.
Hi.
And I have Bruce.
Hey, I'm here.
And Donna's on the phone with us tonight. So hello, Donna.
Hey, how are y'all?
We're doing well. And we just wanted to start off by, could you just tell us a little bit about the history of these sightings and what you've been seeing in the past?
Sure. We actually moved into the house May of 2005. And since then, it didn't start out like something that you would think, about, but as it progressed through the years, it kind of got more and more frequent. I did have a son who, when we moved in there, was about 6 years old. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it or what, but all of a sudden it's a 2-story house. So we were on the couch. We would hear like a kid running down the hallway. So we would ask Josh if he was, running down the hallway, and he said no. And time again, that's kind of what you think. It's your kid just playing upstairs.
Right.
But as he got older, he wasn't at home, and we would still hear it. So instead of like furniture moving upstairs, I would go upstairs and nothing would be moved. And it really sounded like they were moving my bed around the room. It was so loud.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how it started.
So most of the contact has been upstairs in the bedroom type area?
Absolutely. Yeah, that hallway and my bedroom, which is the master, that's where we hear a majority of it. We've had a few things going on downstairs, but relatively all the action has been upstairs. My husband, just to give you a little good story, we were sitting on our sofa, and where we were sitting, you could see directly up the stairs, and there's a banister. And he does not believe in any of this, mind you. And he looked up there, and he kind of looked at me and looked back, and I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I just seen something look over the banister at me."
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
Nice.
okay. So, yeah, that's some good stories anyway. But
So from talking to him last week, or just a short little clip there when I spoke to you, he sounded like he's a believer now.
he is a believer. After that, and he would hear the footsteps, and believe it or not, it's crazy because I would tell them to stop, and they will stop.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
Well, it's obedient.
Yeah. And, you were speaking about this photo that I took.
By the way, that is a terrific photo. For those of you guys that, at home, they can't see or the photo, what it is she took a selfie, and it captured the spirit of what looks like a child right there in the stairway near the banister.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was hearing some footsteps then, and I just grabbed my tablet and I said, "Well, I'm just going to take a snapshot. Probably won't find anything, but I went ahead and done it." And then I seen it and was like, "Well, there you go."
Wow.
And everybody who sees it says the same thing. They think it's a little girl in a dress.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It looked like a little girl with like a hooded jacket on or something, and she's. It almost looked like she was looking down the hallway, but she was kind of half turned toward the staircase.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me.
Donna, do you know any history of the house prior to purchasing it?
That's a good question because, it's funny. We live on the British Army's site where they had all their tents, their wounded. Everything was right there where we're at, which is why it's called British Woods.
Oh, wow.
And I had a historian come out actually who wanted to just a metal detector in my yard. And he brought a gentleman who is a historian that is up here at the battlefield.
Uh-huh.
And he told me that there was several houses in that neighborhood that actually he had done EVP work on.
Oh, cool.
And it's funny because I tell everybody we have a annual like cookout for the neighborhood, and we sit there and we all tell our ghost stories.
That's crazy.
All over the neighborhood. It is crazy, but we also have a graveyard within this neighborhood, and it's a very large graveyard. So I'm not really sure where it's coming from, but it's very interesting. Yes.
Well, but Bruce has done some work out in that neighborhood, and has found some stuff. We won't make any names because the individual doesn't want to be recognized. But there's activity in that area.
Yeah, and I can speak in general about what happened. I just can't mention any names, but a friend of mine who lives in that neighborhood as well, he had an entertainment center. And you know how some of the entertainment centers, the older style, have like little hutch cabinets on each side and with the little glass doors. Well, he had like the glass doors on both sides, and inside those doors, he has little, what are they called? The little precious memory figurines, with the little hands,
right, with their hands together.
Yeah, and they put their little hands together. He's got a bunch of those in there because his wife collects them, and during all times of the day or night, those things would turn around.
Oh my God!
I went over there and I went over there during the afternoon one day because he and I, we were just kind of hanging out, and I had the SLS camera with me, and as one of the figures started turning inside the cabinet, I mapped in an actual tiny little skeletal figure because he says he sees a little girl in his house inside the cabinet. Moving the figurines. It was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. In that neighborhood. Isn't that something?
In your neighborhood.
Yeah. Like a block away from you.
Well, it's funny because the neighbors who lived across the street from me had 2 young boys. And this is what the fathers told me now. They were in their room. Now, they've moved since then, but they had 2 young boys, and they were sitting in their he was reading to one of them in their room. And he said out of the corner of his eye, he seen a shadow go down the hall. And he said he looked over, and he thought his wife and his other son had come home. And the little boy said, "No, Daddy, it's so-and-so. He comes and sees me at night."
Oh, my God.
They actually took the child to a psychiatrist, and they said that this kid had no way of inventing this story of his clothes, of his name, of everything. He even said that he didn't live there at that house, that there was more of them, but they go from house to house.
Oh my gosh.
He was like 5 when this happened, crazy. And they told me that.
Wow.
And I was like, well, that's just giving me goosies all over my body. It was great.
I've heard stories about battlefields that it's just very restless and full of spirits.
Well, I thought about it, and I was like, why would a child be at a camp? Yeah. But I don't know. That's one of the questions that I had because, I don't know why he would be at an army camp back then. But, we do have that cemetery as well. So
yeah, I was going to say with the clothes that it looked like the child was wearing in that picture, it didn't look like anything like colonial. It looked it looked like maybe late 70s, early 80s.
Yes.
Kind of trend, like, I mean, because it's still very, modern, girly.
Exactly.
Clothes.
Wow, that's just crazy.
And I had a question about that. I mean, you said that your husband's seen it. Has it like touched you, interacted with you, besides like made noises?
We were just talking about that because I'm here at my brother's house with his fiance, and we were downstairs, and my refrigerator actually has a freezer at the bottom that you pull out. And she was in the living room, which is around the dining room. So when I pulled it out, I just felt somebody like push me, trying to get me out of the way so they could walk around me. Yeah. And there was nobody there.
Oh,
and
wow.
I asked her if she had come in there, and she said, no. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna ignore that one. But yeah, that's about the only physical. Because I always thought, if they wanted to, they could probably push me down the steps. But it's always been friendly. I've never been scared.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, what kind of feeling do you get? Like, get friendly, mischievous,
Very
or
mischievous. That's a perfect word. I just think they play.
yeah.
It is all times of day, because my mom came over there one time and she was by herself in the house and she heard it upstairs and she left.
Wow.
So it's all times of day.
She wasn't having it.
She wasn't having a part of that. No, at all.
You'll have to check out our Old Salisbury Road investigation, where they have a little girl that's plays little games in the house. You'll have to check that one out and see if it reminds you of your little spirit in your house.
Oh, I'll have to do that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I think that, and hoping that maybe you'll catch something there, her there, or something there.
Yeah, maybe communicate. And
It sounds like it's a good lead. We get a lot of leads that don't pan out, but yours sounds like it's something there that I think we're going to be able to.
Definitely.
Yeah, especially knowing the neighborhood. I've been out there.
Right, and you've already seen something in the neighborhood. So
and that's a huge cemetery right by your subdivision. That thing is massive.
Yes, it is massive. Yes. I'm pretty excited about it. I
have an idea of a cool little experiment I want to run when we do a UV investigation, since this is a child.
Right.
Maybe put down like some crayons and
that's
piece
a
of
good
construction
idea.
paper, and see if we can get it to draw or do some type of communication that way, like trigger objects and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like when we started playing with those toys over in Old Salisbury Road.
Yeah.
The entity, all of our equipment went crazy because the entity kind of got upset with us because we were messing with the toys.
And see, with it being a kid, I'm sure that we could probably get it to touch that vibration ball to set off the lights too. Since kids,
they like playing with things.
Yeah.
I did have a question though.
Sure.
I have heard that, when it's storming or if there's an electrical storm or what have you, that it kind of makes them more active. Is that true?
Yes, because the nature's like naturally, the amount of electricity in the air and the Earth's electromagnetic field in the region where it's storming obviously goes up and skyrockets, and that can kind of feed their energy.
Most entities strive off of energy, and Bruce and I had an example where we went in and we kept asking this entity its name, and the entity never would answer us, and then all of our batteries went dead.
Oh yeah,
and we got back to the house and we put new batteries in our equipment. And we started playing back, and just as plain as day, you can hear the entity say, "Hi, Daryl, Jimmy." Yeah. I mean, just as plain as you hear me right now. But we didn't hear it while we were there, and it's on the tapes, but it took all the energy in all of our batteries, I guess, for him to produce that audio.
Yeah, it drained 3 cameras.
Crazy.
It drained 3 cameras at one time. It was pretty impressive.
Plus our audio drive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the coldness. I mean, I've heard, now it's funny because I did have one time that, I have a memory foam mattress on my bed, and there was one spot on my mattress that was, really cold to the touch.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the bed was warm because it holds the heat.
Yeah.
Right.
And me and my husband both was like, feel that. That is so cold. It was almost like it was wet. It was so cold.
I experienced the cold from a deceased person for the first time last week, and I've never felt anything like that. I mean, my whole back just went ice cold, and it felt like somebody put like an ice cold towel on me. It was really strange. So I totally understand what you mean.
Yeah, cold spots are pretty common though when you're investigating like places that have a lot of activity, especially if it's something powerful that people have actually seen, where it had enough energy to fully manifest at some point.
Yeah,
those tend to produce like intense cold spots, and you'll notice them right away because you'll get goosebumps. Your hair will stand straight up. I mean, wow. It's kind of hard to ignore it, especially when you feel like that hair on the back of your neck starting to stick up.
Well, it's, we have some equipment that measures the temperature. And when Bruce and I were doing an investigation, the entity walked up to my leg, and I could hold the thermometer to the left of my leg, and it was showing like 68, 69 degrees. I'd show it to the to where the entity allegedly was, it dropped down like 50 some degrees.
Oh yeah, it dropped almost
crazy.
10. Yeah,
Almost 10 degrees. And then you could turn it around and point it any other place in the room, and it stayed, 10 degrees higher than it was right there on my knee. And right on my knee, it dropped about 10 degrees. So, I knew the entity was standing right there beside me at that point.
That's crazy.
Now, other people that have visited you or come to your house, have they experienced this?
Not besides my mom. No, I don't think so. I tell them about it and they freak out a little bit. And some of them want to see something, and sometimes when you want to see it, it's never going to happen, sort of thing.
Well, with it being a child, maybe she's a little shy.
Well, that's what I was thinking because, last week, actually, my son's been back from college since May now, but and we haven't really had a whole lot of activity. But last week, our fire alarm beeped 4 times.
Oh, wow.
And it was crazy because my husband just changed the batteries in it.
Yeah.
So about 2 months ago, he changed the batteries in it. So we knew that it wasn't the batteries because he even checked it. We went in there and checked it. And he was like, I don't know what made it just beep 4 times.
See, I've actually had that happen in my house because I got a cemetery in my backyard too, so I understand. My house has activity as well, and actually, within the first 2 or 3 months of me living there, that was one of the first things that happened, and it happened on the second floor hallway.
Yeah, that's where this happened.
Where no one was, by itself. And I'm downstairs in the living room. I can clearly see my banister and where it is on the second floor from my living room on the first floor. And it beeped 2 or 3 times, and then it just stopped.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and which means it whatever manifested had enough density and humidity to it to actually trigger a fire alarm. And they're known to trigger, fire, smoke detectors and motion detectors. I mean, depending on the density that they can achieve when they manifest.
That's crazy.
Now, we're talking about the entity being a child and maybe being shy. Remember that when we come out on the 21st, I've heard some people say, well, we're going to have a ghost party over at her house. We really can't have a ghost party over at your house that night, okay?
That contaminates all the audio.
Yeah.
I know one of your neighbors across the street says, can I be there? And I said, well, you're there. You're going to have to be quiet and sitting away from us.
Be quiet.
We're not. I'm not going to be there, actually. I think we should just leave.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. That might be best. And
there's some neighbors across the street you can go visit, I know.
Yes, Jerry and Brian, they are the sweetest people.
Just take her a bottle of wine, she'll be happy then.
Amen.
And
now she's going to hear that over the air.
One of the things one of the things about a house having a kid ghost is usually children see children ghosts more often than adults because a child, even though it's a spirit, still has a child's mentality. Adults are bad, they're going to run and hide. So,
but hopefully we can be friends with it.
It's okay. I'm good with kids.
We try to get a rapport with whatever's there. So.
Well, that was going to lead me to my questions. Have you ever had a child in your house that claimed to see it or see it through a window or anything like that? Because usually, they'll try to reach out to children.
I actually asked my son that because, because he was so young when we moved in, but he said that he never saw anything. He never really heard anything. If they did go in there, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was because he was a boy. I don't know.
Okay.
But, I've asked him that several times, but he's a hard sleeper too, so he would even hear it if it was there.
Jumping up on the bed, and he wouldn't even know paying attention.
Exactly. That's crazy.
Well, I'm excited to come out, Donna. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm hoping that maybe you guys will find something.
Yeah, we'll make a true believer out of your husband.
I'm definitely a true believer, but and my husband, like I said, after he's seen that, he's like, yeah, there's got to be something to it because he's seen it with his own eyes. So,
I'll tell you that
I like a non-believer.
Yeah, that photo you took, it was surreal. That's one of the best digital photos of a spirit
really
I've ever
is.
seen. Like
What's
most of them.
crazy is when you get to my house, you will see that there is no possible way that somebody could have cast a shadow at the top of those stairs.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't
anywhere
look like a
else
shadow.
at the top
no.
of that house.
Yeah, you can tell it's not a shadow because it actually
It's
has like
not a
it
shadow.
actually has dimension to it. Like you can tell this is a 3D object that you're looking at in
Yeah.
a photo and not just a shadow being cast.
Yeah,
So
because I was asked that several times if somebody was standing on the other side of the banister casting a shadow, and I said, "From what?"
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, the window is way down the hall. There's no way for anybody to cast a shadow right there. So no,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It really is.
I heard the noise and I said, I'm just going to pick up my tablet and just take a picture and just see, and if I catch anything, and I did.
Okay, so you were not just taking a selfie off the out of the blue. You were actually heard something behind you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard the steps upstairs in the hallway,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my tablet right there, and I was just like, I hit the camera.
Wow.
And just took it. That's why I looked
keep
so
taking
bad.
photos, like because I mean that's pretty awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if you happen to catch anything, before we get there, please bring it to our attention. We'd love to see it.
I will. Yeah.
Donna,
Yeah.
today Amanda was doing some meditating, and she had some visions, and she wants to speak to you about those visions.
Sure.
Yeah. So, like I was telling you earlier, I'm a medium, and what I do before we go to a location or I speak with someone, I always do a meditation to open myself to spirit and see if there are any messages that are coming through for the person that we're going to be talking to or visiting. And when I was meditating today, I saw a grandmother step forward, and I kept getting like this taste of mint in my mouth, and I interpreted it as mint chewing gum, but it was definitely mint. And then right when I was just kind of looking at her, trying to take her in, another person stepped forward, and he was a middle-aged man, and he had his arm around the grandmother, and he just kind of gave me the feeling that I'm taking care of her. Everything's going to be okay. Just let Donna know I'm taking care of her. So I just wanted to pass that message on to you. And
does this mean anything to you, Donna?
Yeah.
Yes, it does, actually. My grandmother, whom I could not be with when she passed, she was in Florida and I was here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the mint chewing gum, but she did have mint plants in front of her apartment. They were covered.
Maybe that's why I kept tasting mint.
Yeah, well, she said it kept away mosquitoes and stuff from her house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She had there down in Florida. And my father did pass away at 52 of a massive heart attack, and that was her son.
Uh-huh.
So the fact that they're together now just kind of makes me happy.
Yeah. I got a really warm feeling off of them. Just, we're together, we're taking care of each other, and we're doing okay. Just let Donna know. That's kind of
awesome.
what I got. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. That makes me feel good.
Good. I'm so glad.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, guys, I don't think I have any more questions. Does anybody else have any more questions at this time?
No, I've asked all my questions.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. To the listeners, be sure to keep tuned for the second half of this podcast, which will be the actual investigation. So we'll be looking forward to meeting with you, Donna. And Donna, thank you again tonight for talking with us.
Thank you so much. It was nice to talk to you.
I appreciate it.
And thank you
Nice
for
to
the
talk to you
awesome
guys.
photo. That was a great
No
submission.
problem. I'll try to get you another one.
Okay,
We'll see you soon.
we will be in touch before we come out on the 21st. Thank you, Donna.
Thanks, Daryl. I appreciate it.
Good night now.
Bye-bye.
This is Daryl saying good night from Mothman Podcast.
Good night, guys.
Good night.